They didn't break into my house. They didn't threaten me. They didn't raise their voices. They used the law, and with it, they took everything from me. If this story is touching you, comment below where you're watching from and what time it is there. I used to believe that losing everything required chaos, sirens, shouting, some unmistakable moment where life split in two. I didn't know it could happen quietly. Through emails, notices, signatures. At the beginning, I didn't feel afraid. That's important. Fear usually tells you when danger is close. I felt informed, included, protected by process. They told me everything would be handled legally. That phrase felt reassuring, as if legality itself were a shield. The situation that started it all wasn't my fault. It wasn't anyone's really. Circumstances shifted. Agreements needed revision. That's how they framed it. I cooperated. Because cooperation is what honest people do, I showed up. Provided documents, answered questions. Everyone involved sounded reasonable, professional, concerned. No one treated me like an enemy. That's how I missed the warning signs. Because nothing felt hostile. The first loss was small, almost unnoticeable. A right suspended temporarily. A decision deferred to a committee. I accepted it. Temporary means reversible. The second loss came disguised as protection, oversight, safeguards. They said it was to reduce risk, not because of me. Just in general, risk is a powerful word. It doesn't accuse. It justifies. I asked what risk I posed. They said it wasn't personal. That should have frightened me. Piece by piece, my autonomy dissolved. Not removed, redistributed. I was still informed. Still copied on emails that no longer consulted. That's when I realized something fundamental. The law doesn't need to exclude you explicitly. It just needs to stop requiring you. They cited policies, precedents, clauses I had never seen before. Everything was documented. Everything clean. I searched for wrongdoing, something to fight, something to appeal. There was none. They weren't violating the law. They were exploiting it. When I consulted a lawyer, he read quietly, carefully, then looked up and said the sentence that hollowed me out. They're within their rights, within their rights. As if rights were weapons. I asked what about my rights? He nodded, said they existed, just weaker. That was the moment I understood. The law doesn't distribute power equally. It codifies imbalance. The losses accelerated after that. Access revoked. Accounts frozen. Authority transferred. Each step was justified. Each step made sense in isolation. That's how they dismantled me. Incrementally. Legally. I wasn't evicted. I was reassigned. I wasn't silenced. I was deprioritized. Friends asked what happened. I didn't know how to explain because nothing happened in the way stories usually go. There was no single villain. No dramatic confrontation. Just a steady narrowing of my world. The law followed them like a shadow. Every action backed by procedure. Every decision stamped and filed. I tried to resist. Gently. Carefully, my lawyer warned me. Resistance could be interpreted negatively. That's how legality controls behavior. By turning self-defense into liability. Eventually, the final notice arrived. Polite, brief. It confirmed what I already knew. What remained of my role was terminated. Not because I failed, because it was no longer necessary. I stared at the screen for a long time, waiting to feel something dramatic. I didn't. I felt erased. They took my work, my access, my identity. They took my future by redefining my present. The worst part was the language. So calm, so neutral. We regret any inconvenience, as if this were a delayed delivery. I wanted to scream, to demand accountability. But accountability requires violation, and there was none. They had used the law exactly as intended. That realization broke something in me. Not anger, trust. I stopped believing that legality implied morality, or fairness, or care. My days lost structure. Purpose vanished. I no longer knew where I belonged. People told me to start over. As if you can rebuild when the foundation itself has been declared invalid. I replayed every moment. Looking for the choice that doomed me. I never found it. because the outcome wasn't about choice, it was about leverage. The law had given them leverage, and they used it completely. I wasn't just stripped of resources, I was stripped of voice. Every objection reframed as emotional. Every concern dismissed as resistance. Eventually, people stopped asking how I was. The case was resolved. In their minds, that meant I should be too. But resolution isn't restoration. I lost sleep, lost confidence, lost the ability to trust institutions that promised protection. I learned to read legal language the way you read warning signs, carefully, suspiciously. Sometimes, I imagine what would have happened if I had known earlier. If I had understood that the law can be used offensively. But hindsight doesn't restore what was taken. They didn't take everything violently. They took it cleanly, which meant no one felt responsible. The system absorbed the damage, left me holding the aftermath. I still have copies of the documents, perfectly formatted, legally sound. They prove that everything was done correctly. They don't prove what it cost. I don't hate them. That surprises people. Hatred implies moral clarity. This was procedural. They didn't act out of cruelty. They acted out of advantage. That's what the law enables. Those who know how to use it. I exist now in the aftermath, not broken, but permanently altered. I trust differently, speak carefully, assume less, because once you've seen how easily everything can be taken legally, you never feel safe again. They used the law, and they took everything from me.